Hello, I hope everyone is doing wonderful. My name is Charity Barrett, and I'm the founder and CEO of the Diamond Lab. I'm actually a member of the Standout online program that Christina Rowe has for this wonderful group. Check it out if you get a chance. I'm not exactly sure where to find the information, but I'm sure if you go to the main page of Women Helping Women Entrepreneurs, you'll be able to find the option to join the Standout online group, and it's really nice. But what I want to do tonight is share with you all a wonderful opportunity with no gimmicks, no trickery, a way that you all can raise some funds for your business, or if you want to make a business out of it, you can. The way I used it was as a fundraiser. So I'm talking about Airbnb. And let's be clear, when I talk about Airbnb and I use that term, I'm not just talking about the company Airbnb. I'm talking about all of the booking platforms and transient short-term rentals, any of those type of things. I discovered this hidden gem. It was really interesting. I'll just share a brief story with you. On December 14th, my oldest son was notified that, hey, there's my sister. Out of 280,000 women, my sister happens to be here. Hi. Okay, so on December 14th, my oldest son found out he was accepted into MIT. We were very excited. He had applications for other schools, but he got accepted, early decision, and he said he wanted to go. So naturally, I was proud of him, and I didn't want to let him down. But the tuition was $76,000 a year. And there were no guarantees that we were going to get any kind of scholarship, financial aid. We just didn't know at the time. So I said, you know what? I have to figure something out. Now, you all may not know me, but I'm a businesswoman. I've been successfully self-employed for the last 14 years, self-made. I really wanted to make sure I didn't let my son down. So I recall a conversation that I had with someone a couple of years back, and they had mentioned Airbnb. And at the time, I wasn't interested. I don't know. I think I was in school at the time and, just knee deep in the businesses that I have. So I really wasn't interested in exploring anything new. But at this time, I was like, maybe I can look back at that and see if that's a good option. So I downloaded the app, explored, read everything, did some Googling. And I was like, you know what? I think I would give this a shot. And I decided to do that, I think, on December 15th. And we had our first guest on New Year's Eve, just 2 weeks later. And it was so easy. And I'm not saying it's going to be easy for everyone that chooses to do this, but it was easy because all we had to do was like tidy up the property, tidy up the room. Everything was already in working condition, so it didn't really require a huge investment. The room was already furnished, so I may have bought a few things like some towels, some linen, that kind of thing, but it wasn't anything major initially. Started with one room that was in the basement of my home, which has an actual full apartment down there and a separate entrance. I started with one bedroom, not even all the bedrooms down there, just one. And it got booked, and it got booked again. Hi! And it got booked again, and again, and again, and again. And within I'm sure it didn't take me but a week to realize, hey, let me do another one of the rooms. And so we worked together. My family was right there by my side. They came through. We just, did some renovations, basic minor stuff. There had to be like a door added on, and that's where the money came in. But if it had already been a room, again, no more money, and I had already started making money instantly. Because from the time a person books and they come and check in and stay, you get a direct deposit a few days later. So the money was already coming in, so I felt confident it was worth the investment. So we did another room, put it on the market, it got booked. Long story short, that kept happening to the point where the entire house ended up on the market. And 2 years later, which is now, we have 18 active listings on Airbnb. And it has been amazing. We never have a month where we don't get at least 5 figures. We're never in the 4 figures, always in the 5 figures. So yesterday I went live on my personal page and on my business page, and I shared with the group that as of yesterday, around 8 p.m., I had discovered that we were at about $8,889.40 from Airbnb and Booking.com. And then I also have private people that pay a daily rate or a monthly rate. I have a few of them. And when I added all of that in, I had already made $10,939.40. Now, this was great. This was great for me because this is not the primary business that I have, but it is substantial and it's really helpful. But I'm going to rewind it a bit back to the story of how I got started. You know, I was hustling because I wanted to be able to raise the money for my son's tuition just in case he needed it. Well, guess what? He ended up getting a full ride. So I didn't have to use the money on that, but yet I had the money. And that money has been a blessing because I was able to have money to play with and risk and not have to worry about, okay, how am I going to start this new business? I don't have, any money to spare. I don't want to risk like the mortgage money or the, essential money. It just put me in a really good situation. And I was telling everybody who was willing to listen because it was so easy. It was so easy. If you don't like, if you like people and you don't mind, you don't have to do it out of the home you live in. You can do it somewhere else. But if you don't mind sharing your home with people and you're not scary about things like that, it was just really easy because all you're doing is really being nice to people, good customer service, and you're actually just keeping the rooms clean, keeping the house clean. So it's really, and it's flexible because when you decide to do it, you don't have to do it every day. It's what you want to do. It's how often you want to have the room on the market. You get to decide if you want to make sure it's blocked off every weekend or if it's blocked off every week or if it's just for the summer or if it's just 1 week where there's like something going on in your town. You get to choose, and that's the good part about it. You get to choose a lot of the house rules that you want for your own property. So you really do get to run your own show. And the money is quick. And of course, you get a 1099 at the end of the year. So make sure you pay your taxes on that. If you do it just without establishing a business entity, you can be a sole proprietor, which is what I did initially. But just make sure you do that. So the money is there. And this is the part I want to share for those of you all that might think, well, no, I don't think that'll work for my home because I don't live near a tourist area. My house is not by a beach. My house is not huge. My house is not, beautiful. Let me explain something. I have another property and I got curious whether or not Airbnb would be a success in that property, which is an older home, modest, wasn't in great shape, and it wasn't in a tourist area at all. So I decided to give it a shot. Now, at the time, I had other tenants in there renting rooms individually, and they were tearing the house up. I don't know how many of you all own property and have dealt with tenants, but they can tear your house up, let me tell you. Not all, but some. So I said, let me just try this. So I took one room. I notified all the tenants what my plans were and what I was going to do. I gave them the option to, if they wanted to stay, they could. I gave them plenty of notice. If they didn't like what I was doing, then, they had to move on. So I put the room on the market and it got booked. And it continued to get booked. And I was surprised because the where it's located, there really isn't anything out there except people, like residential and local people. And that's really where the market was, surprisingly. The local people, because there are people who you just wouldn't imagine. There are people in the local area that for whatever reason, and a number of different reasons I've seen, they need a short-term rental. Maybe just one night, maybe just 1 week, maybe just 1 month. But they're renting these rooms basically at a higher rate than what you would have gotten if you were doing a traditional landlord-tenant arrangement. So I decided to put another room and another room and another room. Long story short, that entire house became an Airbnb. And then fast forward a little bit, I chose another one of my properties and I converted that one. And now I actually am on the fourth property and it's transitioning right now because I have other type of businesses that I'm doing, but none of those properties are in a tourist area. So I want you all to know, let me debunk the myths about Airbnb. You don't have to own the home depending on the jurisdiction you live in. Some places are starting to crack down and require a license, but in general, you don't have to own the home. It doesn't have to be a home, a house. It can be a townhouse. It can be an apartment. It can be a condo. It can be a shack. I mean, it can, if it's an abode, you can do Airbnb out of it. Now, whether or not you'll be successful, I'm not, I can't say, but those are the things first that I want to get off right now. So if you have an apartment, let's say a 2-bedroom apartment, and you decide this extra bedroom that I have that I'm using as my office, I'm going to put a futon in there or a sofa bed, and I'm going to open it up on the weekends. I mean, it's as simple as that. So don't think that it has to be, you have to be some real estate mogul or, have all of this money to get started. Very low barrier to entry. And that's why I love to tell people about it. So I just want to make sure people know about certain options. Lately, a lot of the emphasis that I see in most of the business groups are online businesses where you're like doing digital marketing or selling, ebooks or courses or coaching, mentorship. There's a lot of that, and it's a booming market. But let's not forget about some of the good old-fashioned brick and mortar, in-person business where you don't even really have to be on social media to get your clients. You don't have to really spend any ad money because that's what Airbnb and these booking platforms, they've already done the marketing. And that's why you do a little profit share with them. They usually take Booking.com takes roughly 18%. And Airbnb charges the guest about 15%, and they charge the host something minimal. Trust me, it's worth it. You'd be happy to give it to them. They also give you $1 million insurance policy for your home if anything goes wrong concerning a guest. So it's a wonderful opportunity. And now there's a lot of nuances. Now, how do you do it well? How do you make sure you have a good rating? Because guest reviews and things like that are very important here. So you do want to make sure that if you do this kind of thing, that whoever you have responsible for running it, make sure that they're a person who knows how to deal with people. But honestly, at this stage, used to be that I was very hands-on. If you go and you look at any of my listings, you'll notice in the reviews, a lot of people would name me by name. Oh, Charity was a very gracious host. Oh, Charity was wonderful, But you will notice that you won't see my name anymore because ultimately I figured out how to scale the businesses and use a lot of automation. And then you have people in place that can do your cleaning. You can do arrangements where you have someone like live in exchange for rent. And they can do, they can make sure they're keeping the other parts of the house up. So many different things that you can do. And if you're bartering like that, now you don't have to worry about an employee or any, just any transaction with cash or payroll or anything. It's so easy compared to the other businesses I'm accustomed to doing, because at the time, I don't remember if I still had 3, but at one point I had 3 assisted living homes, a commercial childcare center. And those were the primary businesses that I've done the past 14 years. That's where I've accumulated the majority of like my net worth is through those businesses, the valuation of those businesses and the properties that are owned. So that's where the assets come in. So you can easily say you're a millionaire, not necessarily have $1 million in the bank, but it happens before you know it when you have property. And if you're doing things like Airbnb or assisted living, it's a double investment because you're getting the money from your business and you're also getting your properties paid for. So I just want to share these things with you all because it's so easy. And I want to leave room for question and answer, and I want to go back and look at everything. I have 30 minutes here that I'm able to be on here. Okay, I see Amy. Hello. So you would love to know if you found it hard to stay quiet as a family with your guests below. Absolutely. Funny you say that. I'm surprised we don't get more complaints because I do have small children. Not super small, but you know, small enough where they like to run around and play. It is difficult, and it was a sacrifice. However, it was a sacrifice that we were willing to make, because a lot of the times we wouldn't be home if we're out doing different things, or a lot of the times before we were doing it, there were a lot of parts of the house that were collecting dust that we never even went in. But yeah, the noise factor, especially depending on how your home is built, if the walls are thin and that kind of thing, it can be a problem. But overall, it's been working. Definitely been working. Christina, you said you want to do this. Yeah, I mean, I don't see why most people wouldn't want to do it. It's so easy. Thank you for sharing. No problem. Good info. Thank you. Let's see. Shauna has a question. How does it work when you live in the house as well? There's a couple different things you can do. It depends on your comfort level. Now, if you're a single lady, or you're retired and you feel maybe you're a little vulnerable, you want to definitely be careful. You want to be careful no matter what, even if you have men that live with you. You just want to be mindful of some things. So there are a lot of security measures and things that you can do, ways that, depending on how your house is configured, there are a few different options: security systems, video surveillance, little things like that, making sure that your family knows if there's an emergency, how they're to behave, making sure that, they know strangers are coming and going on your property, to be mindful. If you have children, it's definitely something you have to think hard about, because that's not an easy decision as a parent to make. But you have to make sure, if you're going to do it, that you train your children to understand stranger danger. My kids know it. They're friendly, but they won't do too much talking with you and be in your face, because they've been conditioned to know that, you don't know people, so you have to be careful. So living there, it's a lot of things you can do, and also the way you can set it up. And some people only want to do it like if they know they travel a lot for work. They can, rent out their place when they're not there, But I'll say this: a lot of times you don't see the guests because they're out. They're usually, especially the out of towners, if they're coming from out of town, they're in town for a reason, and it's not just to sit up in your house all day and get on your nerve. They're going to hit the streets. But the locals, it can be hit or miss. If you have some of the locals, they might be coming there just for the purpose of being able to stay in the place, for whatever reason. I mean, we've seen a lot. I mean, we've seen the weekend crowd where you just, for whatever reason, you want to, get a room for the night, just one night. Or you may have, I've seen plenty of married people come and they're trying to get a break from a spouse or their children. It's a number of things. There's also a population that called the working homeless. And I don't know where you all live, but there's a lot of that going on now, where you have people who are professional people or people who are working people of sound mind and body, but for whatever reason, they cannot afford to have their own place, or something has happened along the way where they've just been unable to secure a place. And a lot of times they'll bounce around, and I have one guy that he comes fairly often. He only comes when he can afford to pay. When he's done Uber or something like that, he'll book it, he'll come. You get all kind of people, but the local market is a little different because you charge less. Basically, you have to charge a little less, whereas a tourist spot, you already know what you can do, right? So wintertime, I gave you all the figure. I told you all that so far, as of today, we've made $10,939.40 for January, and the month is not over. The difference of a week can make a difference. My phone can chime right now and it end up being a booking. It could be for 5 nights and it end up being $500 all of a sudden that wasn't there just 5 minutes ago. I love it. I don't know how many of you all gamble. I'm not a gambler, but if you're the kind of person that likes the slot machines, it makes me feel like I'm hitting a jackpot. every time my phone lights up with the booking. Even though I'm not the one communicating with them, I like to see it. I want to see what's happening. And it just gives me this feeling of good things are happening. I like it basically. So the money can be really good. And this is actually considered downtime, like down season. Peak season, or when there's a conference, because I live by the MGM casino and a conference center that's very popular. When there's something big going on there, I have been able to get like $189 for a person to come here and sleep in one room and leave. And you barely see them. $189. I think the most I've ever gotten was about $229. So you can change your pricing, you can manipulate it and do all these things. There are so many nuances with how to make it successful. And I can't give you all of that in 30 minutes, but I tell you what, I have developed many kind of, I guess, webinar style free info session to be able to get a little more into detail, answer direct questions. I won't be on someone else's platform, so I'll have as much time as needed to be able to talk with people. And if people are interested, I also have a new mentorship and coaching specialty program. And one of my missions is to make sure that people are able to have access to affordable coaching, affordable courses, because education is key. And it's not fair if there are certain people who are eager to do certain things, but they just need a helping hand, but they don't have $1,000 or $5,000 for coaching. They just don't have it. It's not that they're not serious about their goals. I know a lot of people use that line, but people who use that line are obviously people who have not met people in my community. So there are a lot of people that do not have a dollar to spare, but they are interested in opportunity. And that's one of my missions, is to bring that information at an affordable price. So my husband actually came up with the name, I guess, but my monthly coaching program is going to be, it's just $12 per month. $12. It's like the cost of a Netflix membership or AMC stubs, that kind of thing. And so in what will happen is, if you want that ongoing help where you want customized help, you can ask questions. There's live Q&A each week, and a group that'll be, of peers that are going along, likely starting their Airbnbs and wanting some help along the way. So it's really going to be the kind of thing that can help people who like to have the more of a hand-holding component or more of a community-oriented approach to learning and building a business. That's there as well. And I also have a one-time course where it just teaches you step by step what best practice and how to get one started. So the link for the free webinar is actually in the comment section here, and I'll also put it underneath after I look at everyone's question, just so everyone can see. If you click on it, it's going to ask for your email, your name, and your cell phone. You have my word. I am not going to spam you. I'm not going to use your information for third parties. I'm not going to use a bunch of email sequences. It's like harassing you, because I don't like that. So I don't want to do that to anybody else. It'll just be used to basically give you an update of when the next webinar is and when you can get the course, basically. That's it. So if anyone's interested, I'd love to have you on board. I think you won't regret it, especially, the webinar is free, so nothing to lose there other than time. But I think people will find the information helpful, and I will be in a better position to be able to answer direct questions so that people can determine if this is something that's feasible for them. And then if they determine it is feasible, they may decide to pursue the Diamond Lab Academy, which offers the courses and the $12 mentorship program. I want to be respectful of Christina's policy by not going too long, over 30 minutes. But you all know where to find me, okay? My name is Charity Barrett, and my personal page is public, so you can go there and follow me there if you just want to get an inside look and get to know me better. You also can go to the Diamond Lab business page, and you can click on the link down there if you want the webinar, and you'll also be given more information, also how to find me, how to contact me, that type of thing. Okay, everyone, so it's been great. You all enjoy your Saturday evening. Well, I know some people in other parts of the world, so it may not be evening, but you all enjoy the rest of your day.